To say that humanoid robots have entered public consciousness would be an understatement. The reason for all the excitement isn't difficult to understand. Personal robot servants have been a collective fantasy of ours going back decades.
Rosie cooks. She cleans. And she still finds time to play ball with Elroy.
Wow! Right in the basket.
Rosie is the ideal maid.
Every home will have an NDR-114 designed to serve humans.
This is very good. Thank you, sir. One is glad to be of use.
Come in now. I won the lottery. We've been cooking like crazy.
The full reach of real humanoid robots will extend well beyond just freeing us from household chores. The advent of ubiquitous humanoids, and AI more generally, will fundamentally change society, transforming everything from the way we work, if we work, to the way that we interact with one another. This is no less true when it comes to disability. As someone with cerebral palsy, I have watched the rapid progress over the last year with what could only be described as exhilaration. No group, I would argue, will have their lives more profoundly transformed by this technology than people like myself. I envision humanoids acting as 24-hour caretakers and personal assistants, available at a moment's notice to do whatever is asked of them, giving us the independence and autonomy, the personal freedom that the non-disabled have as a matter of course. By the way, the voice that you are listening to right now is not that of a humanoid robot, although the humanoids of the future may end up sounding very similar to this. I have a severe speech impediment due to my CP. If I were to narrate this video using my real voice, it would be incomprehensible. Thankfully, I have a way around this problem in the form of MRF. MRF is a sophisticated text-to-speech AI program. With MRF, I have the ability to have my video scripts converted into synthetic voiceovers. As we will see, the technology that makes this possible is fundamentally the same as that which is behind humanoid robots. If you think you might like to try out MRF for your own video projects, follow the link in the description. In this video, we're going to examine the burgeoning humanoid robot revolution through the lens of disability. It is my belief that, in the decades to come, we will see a gradual shift in the experience of having a disability, and maybe what it even means to be, at least, physically disabled, thanks to these machines. For this reason, humanoid robots are the ultimate assistive device. Part 1. The foundations of autonomy. I am not the only disabled person taking note of the potential of humanoid robots as assistive devices. Shortly after Tesla put out their last major update on their humanoid Optimus in December, the popular YouTube channel, The Blind Life, released a response video discussing how it might help the sight impaired. Here's a clip from that video.
What do you guys think about these robots in the future being assistants for blind people or any disability? What about having a personal robot assistant that can help you, the independence that could provide you? I guarantee you they will add some type of speech into this robot in the future, some kind of auditory communication. I'm sure since it's using cameras, it would not surprise me if they added in OCR, the ability to take a picture of printed text and read that out loud. I mean, just the possibilities are endless. Navigation. Maybe they could outfit it with some type of handle on the arm that you would hold on to, and it would lead you around. Like if you needed to read the information, it could just scan it and then read it out loud to you. They've already talked about how these will be used for menial tasks like house cleaning. Gosh, how helpful could these be around the house? If you think about that service IRA that people pay for, where you can contact a live agent through your phone and the person sees through your phone's camera and can help with whatever you need. What if you had a robot there that could do all of that for you whenever you need it. That would be fantastic. At one point, they said something about, cheaper than the cost of a car, which that's still kind of expensive. But maybe there's some program in the future where these are provided to the disabled community for free, kind of like guide dogs. It's really kind of exciting, the possibilities.
At the end of March, Noland Arbaugh, a paraplegic who became the first patient to be implanted with a brain chip by the neurotech company Neuralink, also headed by Elon Musk, was featured on a Neuralink update video uploaded to Twitter. Although he obviously talked mainly about his experience with the implant, he also briefly touched on Optimus, speculating about how it could be paired with the chip to greatly benefit people like himself. Here's the clip.
The Optimus robot sounds so cool. It'll change, specifically quadriplegics' lives. Having a full-time nurse is something that is not possible for people like me. And I can just imagine having an Optimus robot as just someone that's there all the time that can help you with whatever you need. It's gonna, oh my gosh, it's gonna change so many people's lives. It's gonna be amazing. So I would like to see that. I think that's in the works. It'll be crazy. Also, it would be really cool if Optimus can be like a little chauffeur to travel around. I basically have to have a group of people around me all the time to get anywhere. I'm from Arizona, if y'all don't know, so driving up here was a 10-hour drive, and I loved it. I didn't mind, but the people around me, not so much. So, people driving, sorry, David. Yeah. But imagine having, self-driving car and an ability to get in the car and have someone get you out and stuff. If I could do all of that without needing other people, just everything that improves, independence, quality of life. I can just see the possibilities.
To me, these clips speak to an intuitive understanding that Optimus and other humanoid robots aren't just another assistive device. This is special. To see why, let's take a step back and think about the ways in which people have traditionally adapted to being disabled. Speaking very broadly, these fall into two categories: the use of assistive devices to help compensate for the impairment and relying on other people for help and support. Both methods have their benefits and drawbacks. Assistive devices offer the benefits of ongoing availability and the preservation of independence. Because assistive devices usually take the form of items that can be personally owned or, at the very least, readily accessed in the environment where they are most often used, they can be used whenever the need arises. This is important since the disabled person's needs can't always be anticipated in advance. Also, on a psychological level, having a means by which one can do some tasks for oneself maintains a sense of agency. The major drawback is that the typical assistive device has a limited range of applications. Also, not all assistive devices are right for everyone, and there are some needs for which no assistive device exists. The benefits and drawbacks of support from non-disabled people are, to a close approximation, the direct inverse. People are very versatile in the range of different tasks they can be asked to perform or help out with. The flip side is that they have lives of their own. They aren't always available when needed. Family members often work outside the house, and many disabled people are independent enough to make those times when we do need assistance sporadic and difficult to plan for. On the other hand, even professional healthcare workers have their limits since they typically are juggling several cases and have to stick to a schedule. Not only is this inconvenient, but it can also be quite demoralizing since a lack of independence can also translate into a lack of freedom. It can also put a strain on your relationships. What makes humanoid robots so exciting is that, for the first time ever, it will be possible to have the best of both worlds. This is because they are being designed to be general purpose. That's the whole point of making them humanoid. A machine that can do virtually anything a human can. At the same time, since they will not, actually, be human, they will have no, inner life. The phrase, "the lights are on but nobody's home," has never been so literal. Unlike a human caretaker, a robot can be available 24 hours a day, ready to be called on at a moment's notice. Their disabled owner will never have to worry about inconveniencing them, and there is no possibility of relationship friction. Thus, humanoid robots will blur the line between assistive device and assisted living. This is possible because of recent advances in artificial intelligence. It's no coincidence that the current efforts to develop humanoid robots are coming just after ChatGPT and similar programs burst onto the scene. Both are examples of generative AI. AI that can generate various types of information based on the inputs that it receives. Generative AI models require vast amounts of data to train, making them expensive to create. Fortunately, there's a way around this problem. Many related tasks rely on the same basic principles. For example, writing an essay and chatting with a friend both require an understanding of English. This makes it possible for large companies to pre-train generative AI models, called foundational models, to sell to smaller firms who can then fine-tune them for more specific tasks. Foundational models can be built for any desired output. LLMs, like ChatGPT, create new text content based on prompts. Image generators, such as Stable Diffusion and DALL-E, can create images from text descriptions. Murph takes in my written words and generates this synthetic voice. This can also be applied to the physical actions of humanoid robots. Several companies are now attempting to build foundational models that can receive inputs in the form of human requests and instructions, and then generate movements that fulfill those requests. Unfortunately, unlike with LLMs and image generators, there isn't a near-infinite pool of examples freely available online to train them on. In the absence of such a resource, these companies are getting creative. One solution is multimodal models, foundational models capable of handling multiple information modalities. Back in March, the humanoid robot startup, Figure AI, announced that it had partnered with OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT and other generative AI programs. They melded OpenAI's foundational models, trained on vast amounts of image, video, and text data, with Figure's, trained on teleoperation. By learning to correlate such a broad array of input modalities, the combined system was essentially able to substitute one type of training data, images, videos, and text descriptions of actions, for another, robot movements. The results were remarkable.
Hey, Figure 1, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great, can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Great. Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great. So, based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great. Can you put them there?
Of course.
All right, so how do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well. The apple found its new owner, the trash is gone, and the tableware is right where it belongs.
I agree. Thanks, Figure 1.
You're welcome. If there's anything else you need help with, just let me know.
Another approach is to train the AI model in a simulated environment. This generates synthetic data through a process called reinforcement learning. Without the danger of hurting people or damaging property, the model is simply given a goal and allowed to teach itself how to achieve that goal through thousands of rounds of trial and error. Although no simulation is perfect, this gets the model proficient enough that it can then be fine-tuned with human feedback. For example, Tesla's full self-driving program is first trained on simulations in their Dojo supercomputer and then fine-tuned by real driver data. With Optimus, fine-tuning is done through teleoperation. Realizing how easily Dojo could be adapted is presumably what inspired Elon Musk to start the Optimus project in the first place. A third solution is NVIDIA's Project Groot. Announced around the time as the Figure OpenAI team-up, their method is essentially a hybrid of the other two. Like Tesla, the model will initially be trained via reinforcement learning. Simulations will be run on a powerful, custom-made computing platform and then fine-tuned through teleoperation as well as imitation learning, where the robot observes and copies human actions. Like Figure and OpenAI, NVIDIA will also leverage the power of multimodal models, using not only synthetic data, but also their vast image, video, and text libraries for training. Also, similar to OpenAI, they have partnered with several humanoid robot companies. Here's a short clip on Project Groot.
This is NVIDIA Project Groot. A general-purpose foundation model for humanoid robot learning. The Groot model takes multimodal instructions and past interactions as input and produces the next action for the robot to execute. We developed Isaac Lab, a robot learning application to train Groot on Omniverse Isaac Sim. And we scale out with Osmo, a new compute orchestration service that coordinates workflows across DGX systems for training and OVX systems for simulation. With these tools, we can train Groot in physically based simulation and transfer zero shot to the real world. The Groot model will enable a robot to learn from a handful of human demonstrations, so it can help with everyday tasks and emulate human movement just by observing us. This is made possible with NVIDIA's technologies that can understand humans from videos, train models in simulation, and ultimately deploy them directly to physical robots. Connecting Groot to a large language model even allows it to generate motions by following natural language instructions. With Isaac Lab, Osmo, and Groot, we're providing the building blocks for the next generation of AI-powered robotics.
The term zero shot refers to an AI's ability to perform tasks it hasn't been specifically trained for. It's an emergent ability of a generative AI model that's been trained on enough data that it now possesses a generalized understanding of its purpose. In the context of helping disabled people live independently, this would enable humanoids to understand requests and follow complex directions in a manner similar to a human caretaker. Thus, the same foundational models making it possible for robots to act autonomously will also lay the foundation for disabled people regaining our autonomy. Part 2. The Robo-Race. With the technology in place to make general-purpose humanoid robots possible, the race is now on to make them a reality. What follows is a list of the leading humanoid companies. Each has its own approach and each potentially offers something different to disabled people. Tesla, Optimus. Headquartered in Austin, Texas, Tesla offers disabled people two advantages: superior design and a low price tag. According to a speech that Musk gave at the 2024 Tesla shareholders meeting, the next generation of Optimus will have 22 degrees of freedom in its hands, which will be very important for those with motor skill impairments like myself, and understand natural language requests, all for around $10,000. Here's their last demo. Figure AI, Figure 2. Figure AI is headquartered in Sunnyvale, California. We've seen their Figure 1, which has extremely well-developed language and reasoning skills thanks to the OpenAI partnership. Figure's second-generation bot, Figure 2, is claimed to be the world's most advanced humanoid. One X Technologies, Eve and Neo. With headquarters in Moss, Norway, and Sunnyvale, California, One X Technologies is distinct in that, with their planned Neo humanoid, they're going directly for domestic applications, instead of starting out in factories, and then branching out from there. Consequently, they emphasize household tasks and intuitive interaction, which naturally dovetails into assisted living. Also, Neo, like its predecessor, Eve, is being engineered with a soft, bio-inspired design for human-safe operation. Unlike Eve, Neo will be bipedal and have human-like hands. Here are two short demos that One X just released for Neo. Apptronic, Apollo. Also headquartered in Austin, Apptronic's humanoid, Apollo, stands out for two reasons: human-centered design and modularity. Human-centered design means that not only can Apollo safely operate around humans, but it also intuitively interacts with and adapts to them. Additionally, modularity will make Apollo more customizable, which is important since different disabled people have different needs. Here's a clip of Apollo making apple juice. Some honorable mentions are Agility Robotics, Boston Dynamics, Sanctuary AI, and Neura. The Robo-Race is playing out internationally as well as between companies, with the US engaging in something of a robotic proxy war with China. China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, or MIIT, has unveiled an ambitious plan to begin mass-producing humanoids by 2025. They hope to eventually have one robot for every 20 human workers, allowing them to automate key sectors, including healthcare and elder care. Here are some of their top companies. Unitree Robotics, H1 and G1. Headquartered in Hangzhou, China, Unitree's humanoid design emphasizes speed, power, and control. Their H1 could be useful for helping those with mobility issues and for daily living assistance for the severely physically impaired. Their G1 robot, basically a miniature H1, is currently available for purchase at $16,000. Here's G1's demo. Tech Robotics, Walker S. Headquartered in Shenzhen, China, Tech Robotics' flagship product, Walker S, possesses superior language and reasoning capabilities, while its spatial awareness ensures human safety. Tech also has a lot of experience in elder care robotic solutions. Here's Walker's demo.
Walker， 明天我要出差，可以帮我叠一下你手里这件衣服吗？
当然可以。
Walker， 衣服叠好了吗？
叠好了。
Walker， 你觉得这件黑色衣服搭配什么颜色的裤子更好看呢？
搭配深色系的裤子比较适合正式场合。
Walker， 请帮我把桌上的开关按种类放在不同的盘子里。
好的。
那 Walker， 你如何确保分拣结果的准确性和效率呢？
在分拣过程中，通过百度智能云千帆大模型平台调用文心一言进行子任务拆解和推理，配合视觉语言模型，保证异常检测精度，并实现泛化抓取，确保任务在干扰的情况下顺利实施。
Fourier Intelligence, GR1 Headquartered in Shanghai, China, Fourier Intelligence is, perhaps, the company on this list that comes closest to designing its robot specifically for disability assistance use cases. Their primary focus is on medical robots, having started out designing human exoskeletons for rehabilitation applications. Here's a video of their GR1 giving a patient physical therapy. Honorable mentions include LimX Dynamics, Jaka Robotics, Robotera, and Lejo Robotics. Part 3. The Road to Affordability. Of course, the existence of humanoid robots won't do disabled people much good if most can't afford them. Fortunately, there are reasons to believe that most eventually will be able to afford them, although it may take a while to get there. The key to making this a reality lies in economies of scale, in which mass production lowers the per-unit manufacturing cost. Because AI is a vital component of humanoid robots, however, their scaling-up process will be intrinsically intertwined with that of fleet learning. Since the information stored in each bot's neural network can be transmitted wirelessly, all of the robots in a given company's fleet can learn as a single entity rather than individually. The more robots in operation, the greater the quantity and variety of data collected, and the faster the robots learn. Again at the 2024 Tesla shareholders meeting, Elon explained how Optimus's abilities will improve exponentially as its price drops.
And I think we've got kind of like one major hardware revision, which should be done by end of this year or early next, and then we'll move into a limited production next year of Optimus. Limited production for use in our factories. And my prediction is next year we'll have over 1,000, maybe a few thousand Optimus robots working at Tesla. We'll iron out the bugs. Like the degree of autonomy will be radically better. And things are going to scale up very rapidly from there. I think the build rate will be probably something ultimately like 1 billion a year. I think the ratio of humanoid robots to humans will probably be at least 2 to 1, something like that. 1 to 1 for sure, so which means like somewhere on the order of 10 billion humanoid robots. I think we could make one for a cost of maybe, at really high scale, of about $10,000. But you'll just literally be able to talk to it and say, please do this task, or I'm going to show you something, now do the thing that I'm showing you. Get to the point where it can watch a video of something like a person and then learn just by looking at that video and do that task. Really a humanoid robot that is intended to be able to do anything you want it to do, to be your companion. It can be at your house. It can sort of babysit your kids. It could teach them.
This interplay between economies of scale and fleet learning will dictate when and where humanoids get deployed. As Elon said, they will most likely be deployed exclusively in factory settings in the early days, and this will facilitate the collective learning necessary for them to eventually take on more complicated roles. The first steps down this road are being taken as we speak. A recent report by Morgan Stanley predicted that there could be 8 million humanoids in the US by 2040, with a $357 billion market impact. Clearly, there's big money to be made, and this has attracted the attention of early investors. Fueled by this infusion of cash, humanoid companies are already making strategic partnerships and putting their robots to work in factories. As early as April 2022, Agility Robotics raised $150 million in its latest fundraising round, having raised $179 million overall. Among the investors was Amazon. As part of their partnership, Agility's Humanoid, Digit, began working in Amazon's warehouses in October. Around the same time, Agility announced plans to build the world's first humanoid robot factory, RoboFab, which will produce 10,000 units a year. They have since formed partnerships with GXO, a logistics firm that handles the warehousing, packing, and shipping of products for other businesses, as well as Manhattan Associates, a warehouse management software developer. Although Agility has not expressed interest in trying to break into the home market for at least another decade, this is worth noting because it shows how quickly things are progressing. In June 2022, Apptronik raised $14.6 million, bringing its total to $28.7 million. They've entered a partnership with Mercedes-Benz for Apollo to help out with inspecting parts and delivering them to assembly lines. They've also signed a deal with GXO alongside Agility. More recently, they formed a partnership with NASA that may one day see Apollo building habitats on the Moon and Mars. In January, 1X Technologies raised $100 million, making their total $125 million. This latest fundraising round was for the development and large-scale manufacture of their bipedal humanoid, Neo. As noted earlier, 1X is taking a different tact with Neo, going directly to private consumers, rather than making their way through commercial and industrial settings first. Their bet is that the sheer volume and variety of data collected from a myriad of homes will provide a steeper fleet learning curve. Back in 2022, they delivered 140 EVE humanoids to Everton, which provides security solutions to other businesses. In February, Figure AI raised a whopping $675 million from OpenAI, NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Jeff Bezos, among others. As we saw in the demo for their Figure 2, the robot has already been doing useful work in BMW factories, with the automotive giant announcing a successful trial run just after the demo dropped less than a week ago at the time of writing. The two partners will now work together to find useful tasks for the robot to do. Figure said that the robot is built for production and that they also have plans to seek out other clients in manufacturing and logistics. In July, Sanctuary AI raised an undisclosed amount that brought their total to $150 million. I didn't profile Sanctuary in Part 2 because they're not as keen on releasing demo videos, but they deserve a brief mention here. The Vancouver-based company has a unique philosophy on humanoid development. They're focused on two areas: creating highly capable artificial intelligence and designing ultra-dexterous hands. Instead of developing them separately, however, they're doing both in tandem. They reason that, since our hands and minds evolve together, mimicking that process is the best path to truly human-like AI. They unveiled their latest generation humanoid, Phoenix 7, back in April. Its hands come closest to their real counterpart, surpassing even those of Optimus Gen 3, while their AI platform, Carbon, is meant specifically for humanoid embodiment. Obviously, this could one day be of great advantage to disabled people. For now, however, Sanctuary is focused on industrial applications like the REST, Save 1X. They've made back-to-back partnerships with Accenture and Magna. Accenture is a multinational consulting firm that helps other companies run smoothly and improve themselves, and that includes navigating technological changes. They'll essentially play matchmaker for Sanctuary, identifying which of their clients could benefit from Sanctuary services and then making the introduction. Magna, on the other hand, is one of the world's largest manufacturers of automotive parts. They'll be recommending Sanctuary to their clients as well, in addition to actually manufacturing Phoenix 7 for them. China is also well on its way to producing humanoids at scale, their MIIT having established a $1.4 billion robotics fund as part of its initiative. In fact, Fourier Intelligence's GR1 became the world's first mass-produced humanoid at the end of last year. Unitree isn't far behind, having revealed that their G1 is ready to go into mass production less than a week ago at the time of writing. Meanwhile, Goobtech's Walker S has begun performing a wide variety of tasks for the Chinese automotive manufacturer Dongfeng Liuzhou Motor. This is expected to accelerate the development and adoption of humanoids in the automotive industry across China. Goobtech also plans to deploy Walker S in several other industries this year. About a year ago, Brett Adcock, the CEO of Figure AI, appeared on Peter Diamandis' podcast, where he explained how the interplay between fleet learning and economies of scale will eventually lead to humanoid robots being used in assisted living applications, specifically elder care.
Being able to do at-home care would be like a very substantial life benefit to let people age in place at home. This is really just a maturity of the technology itself to be able to make the reliability and the safety and the cost get to a point where we can do these things. So if we look at how I think the business unfolds over the next 10 or 20 years, I think it looks very similar to what you saw in self-driving cars, where the easier stuff will be demonstrated first. So driving on the highway has been demonstrated at higher safety levels than driving in, say, San Francisco, the city. And it's because in the city, it's got a higher safety case. It's more variability. It's less structured. It's probably 1 or 2 orders of magnitude harder from an engineering perspective to do that reliably and safely than on a highway. The same thing exists for humanoids. There are applications in the world that are easy to do. You're moving bins or boxes. You know exactly what the bin is. You know exactly the payloads. You know where you're moving it to. You're in basically a space that you already can map and you already understand. You can have communication with the manufacturing or warehouse execution system. It's a really well-known or kind of highway driving equivalent. And then there are things that are really much harder, which are, cooking somebody food in their home, caring for the elderly. Those are city driving equivalent to self-driving cars. So maturing these with these big corporate groups that have this big labor areas, making the robot more intelligent, more dexterous, higher reliability, and then ultimately doing higher volume manufacturing to get costs down will be important to enter this elderly area to let people age in place. It's going to happen a decade from now. It's going to be very substantial, maybe even a bigger business in some ways than the consumer side of things. But it's just going to be the second chapter in the book, with the first chapter being the commercial market. The robot, from a hardware perspective, will be able to do almost all this work that would be needed in somebody's home. There will be a maturity here of trust of the product and some of these other aspects I mentioned that'll be important for us to mature in the commercial market.
Adcock also believes that producing humanoid robots will be a lot less expensive than one might think. In a tweet put out in June, he outlined an argument for why he thinks that the large-scale manufacture of humanoids will be more akin to that of consumer electronics than cars. If he is correct, then the monthly payment for renting a humanoid robot might also be closer to that of consumer electronics. Since the average car payment for a new car is around $700, but the rental price on consumer electronics is usually under $100, it's not difficult to imagine the monthly payment for a humanoid eventually being around $200 to $300. While this is still well beyond the reach of most disabled people, there may be ways to lower the cost even more. For example, I have an idea for a business that would let disabled people rent humanoids for much shorter stretches of time. As mentioned before, many disabled people, myself included, are able to live independently most of the time, making those times when we do need help difficult to plan for. It can also make it hard to justify having a home healthcare worker, leaving us in a gray area where we are too disabled for complete independence, but not disabled enough for clear solutions to exist. When these situations come up, I usually have to call on family and hope they are available. Now, imagine that one of those situations comes up and, instead of calling someone, I pull up an app on my phone. Sometime later, an autonomous shuttle arrives, and a humanoid disembarks. The bot greets me at the door, does what I need it to do, which may take as little as 15 minutes depending on the task. And then a second shuttle comes by to retrieve it. This business could have several such shuttles, custom designed to allow the robots to load and unload themselves, and equipped with onboard charging stations. Built to accommodate a small fleet, they could be constantly picking up and dropping off humanoids along a route. Such a business could also incorporate alternative revenue streams to lower prices still further. For example, they could rent out their robots to non-disabled people for things like housework, lawn care, and construction at slightly higher prices, and then offer discounts to the disabled and elderly. Also, since fleet learning depends on data collection, they could offer reduced rental prices in exchange for the customer's anonymized data. A third option might be using the screens that many humanoids have on their faces and/or chests to display advertisements. Beyond business models, one must also take into account the economic changes that the humanoids themselves, together with other forms of AI, like self-driving cars, are likely to cause. In fact, it's entirely possible that, at some point, humanoid robots will primarily be built by humanoid robots. Not only would this AI-enabled hyper-automation make humanoids cheaper, but it would also make everything cheaper, thus reducing the overall cost of living. At the same time, widespread job losses may increasingly create pressure to replace our current social security system with a universal basic income. Given that most UBI proposals are for around $1,000 to $1,200 a month, renting a humanoid robot could one day cost a tiny fraction of disabled people's budget. 20 years from now, the world may look very different for disabled people. Part 4. Issues and Considerations. Throughout the course of this video, I've tried to present the most optimistic view of our future with humanoid robots as possible, envisioning a world where they make it possible for everyone to live independent and fulfilling lives regardless of their level of ability. But, of course, as with any emerging technology, there are ways in which things could go south. The first, and perhaps most obvious, concern is that of privacy. To some extent, this is an extension of anxieties about tech-enabled surveillance. Siri being used to listen in on our private conversations, our computer cameras covertly recording us, our cell phones being used to track our locations. That many of us already have. It's sort of built into fleet learning that everything these humanoids do, hear, and see will be recorded and sent off-site in order to train ever more powerful AI models. Even assuming that the companies can be trusted, that our data is being sufficiently anonymized, and that our opt-out requests are being honored. This still creates opportunities for backdoor surveillance which could be activated at any time. As scary as this may be, there is an even more frightening scenario. Humanoid robots' capacity to physically interact with the world opens up the possibility not only for surveillance, but outright interference. In fact, several U.S. congressmen have already called for bans on Chinese-built humanoids for fears that they could become Trojan horses used to not only spy on us, but also sabotage vital infrastructure and even attack citizens. A similar concern could be raised on the domestic front. If you've spent any time playing around with ChatGPT or Gemini, then you know that there are certain ideas that they will not discuss, lest they cause harm, whereas other ideas, read political opinions, are taken as established fact. The woke mind virus, as Elon calls it, is being baked right into the core of these LLMs, and many of the same companies, such as OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google, are also heavily involved in the creation of humanoids. This begs the question: if my personal robot sees me doing something that its woke programmers would disapprove of, might it intervene? If it suspects that I might go on Twitter and express politically incorrect views, such as the idea that disability is not an identity and that curing disabilities is not equivalent to genocide, would it try to stop me? Such interventions could be as overt as physically blocking access to the computer, or as subtle as throwing up distractions to make me forget. For the more severely disabled, it could be as simple as refusing to facilitate certain activities. We're going to need robust safeguards to ensure that these humanoids become tools that expand the personal freedom and autonomy of disabled people rather than limit them. Thanks for watching the video. If you got something out of it, then please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. You can also follow me on any of these social media platforms. And if you really like what I'm doing, you can support me on Patreon. The links are all in the description.